Welcome to episode 17 of the Black and White Bistro, where black and white photographers come to grow, share, and get inspired. Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here today.
Hello, everyone. It's Pentaylor. Warmest thanks to you, David, and to BNW Bistro for inviting me as the third female photographer to be included in this wonderful celebration of black and white imagery. Born and raised in Toronto, Canada, my late father showed me how fulfilling artistic expression could be. He was a prolific weekend painter, and the canvases in our home numbered in the hundreds. He was also an avid photographer and indulged his passion to document his travels in Europe with my mother. My photography style developed independently of his, but like my father, I've been inspired by my own travels, as I have shot in many countries worldwide over the years. I started my love of photography with a much-loved and handed-down Brownie box camera. Some years later, a friend loaned me his Canon AE1, and that was the start of my self-taught journey in 35mm film photography. I did take a portfolio course, however, where in every class our no-nonsense professor, a renowned photographer at the time, had all of us eating humble pie. So if we thought we were all that when we walked in the door, we quickly learned the opposite not long after. I've taken those hard lessons learned forward ever since. Humility is a good thing. For the next 15 years, I dabbled in infrared imagery with a Hasselblad X-Pan, and eventually settled in with my trusty Nikon F90, which served me for several years, despite its worn-off camera back. During those years, I shot monochrome film images exclusively, and mounted 7 solo exhibitions of that work. At this time, my images were represented by Ibid, the former monochrome-only stockhouse in Chicago, for several years. Through Ibid, I had the pleasure of seeing my work included in several international ad campaigns. 2 art dealers and 2 galleries in Toronto were also representing my photography at different times in those years, so I was very busy. Later, a lengthy trip to Botswana encouraged me to start shooting in Cibachrome in anticipation of the beautiful Savannah Light. Since then, my work has been published numerous times, also appearing in 3 separate compilate volumes of minimal and street photography with a publishing house in Portugal. I curated and co-published the most recent of those volumes, a hardcover coffee table book I called The Art of Stride-By, featuring my own work as well as that of 21 other international stride-by photographers. Throughout a foray into color, though, my love of monochrome imagery never diminished. It was my first love, after all. Over the years, especially since the development of cameras and technology, I've come to realize that what matters the most to me in any photography, whether my own or that of others, is the eye used to see the potential of subject matter first. Gear comes second, always. I'm known for shooting what people walk by without seeing, and that continues to be the very essence of my inspiration. In this process, I like to challenge the eye of my viewers through the angle, the framing, or just the fractal quality of the subject matter itself. Although I started with the Canon SLR, since the early 2000s I've come to embrace the digital world with the Fuji S Pro and various Nikon DSLRs, as well as the ease and spontaneity of my iPhone Pro Max. After years of lugging heavy gear around, my poor back is infinitely happier. I've been a hub moderator for the past 6 years, starting with Raw on Instagram, the platform where I also later founded 2 independent hubs, and here on Vero as well since our Snap community came on board. I'm always inspired by the beautiful work and talent of others, and nothing gives me greater pleasure in that role than celebrating their images in features. As my own work continues to be featured as well, I always view my time moderating as an opportunity to give back. Many thanks to all of you for listening to my story. It's been my pleasure to share it.
Wow, this is really going great. Let's enjoy Pen's second artist favorite image and hear her story behind it.
The title of this one is A Short Story. With a British background and surrounded by horses, For years, I dreamt of experiencing rural life in the UK. I finally realized my dream of spending time in the town of Newmarket, home of horse racing and muse of the late Dick Francis. He first came to fame as Queen Elizabeth's jockey, and later as a British mystery author, setting his books in the world of horse racing centered around Newmarket. The town's atmosphere is vibrant with everyday visuals of international strings of racehorses, their exercise riders, and their jockeys. One can see up close the procession of horses being ridden through the streets, from their stables to the grassed exercise area known as the gallops. Like others putting down temporary roots here, we stayed for a short time in this centuries-old hotel pictured, offering us a view overlooking the storybook Tudor architecture of the town. Struck by the buildings, the texture, and the ironwork of the window, I found the use of a 400mm zoom lens, along with 400 ISO film, to be perfect tools to lead the eye towards the town below with depth of field. To get this shot, I stood in the bathtub. What we didn't realize before checking in was that the hotel was also chosen by all the visiting jockeys as their temporary home. Therefore, everything was built to a scale which accommodated their needs, practical for them, but not for tall people like us taking showers, as the water source came only to our chest height. Sleeping was another problem, as the single beds were not only short-sheeted, but missing 2 feet of legroom.
We're back with Penn Taylor in Toronto. Penn, what has proven to be the biggest challenge you've faced on your photography journey, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I would say the most challenging aspect is being in a relationship and having a partner who isn't a photographer. So if I go back to my poor mom, I mean, we like to be attracted to people that are into what we're into, but sometimes you have partners that don't quite see eye to eye with your hobbies. So my poor mom was exceptionally tolerant for all the years that she and my father were together. And my father was constantly stopping the car, getting to take a picture. And my poor mom put up with that for a long time. And that was just her. And I know it was hard on her. But now I find that history is repeating itself with me because, I imagine it must be very frustrating for a partner to constantly hear, stop the car, I need to get this, or we're in the middle of the walk. You carry on, I'll catch up. How many times? A lot of times I've been told that. Now I'm very fortunate that I've had 2 fairly tolerant partners. The one that I've been with for 10 years, he's lovely and supports my work wholeheartedly. But, I imagine there's more people than me that have been in this boat. So there's that. And
Ditto.
Also, I mean, see, there you go. There you go. So the only way to overcome it, to answer your question, is to either find another partner or keep the status quo and shoot alone to keep everybody happy. Yeah.
Partner? Photography. Partner? Photography. No, just joking,
Right.
folks. Just joking.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you get the prize out of 16 photographer interviews. You're the first to come up with that. That's great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I can understand it. Why are you taking a picture of a fire plug?
Yeah. Yes.
But look at the way the light's falling on it, and everything else just is going to fade out. And
it just doesn't compute. Doesn't compute.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yes,
I say this endearingly. I say this endearingly about my partners. I love them dearly. The 2 partners I've had. So I'm very pleased that I've found the right one who is extremely supportive. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thinking about people who are considering starting out in black and white photography, which suggestions can you offer to them as they consider black and white shooting?
So I would say this is a great question because I almost wish that I had somebody telling me this when I was starting out. But I think the most important thing is to see what's out there. Get yourself on a gallery mailing list, a photography gallery mailing list, and go and see the shows. See what people are putting out there. It can be inspiring, but to your point earlier, um, and I feel very strongly about this, but it's crucial that rather than imitating the work of others, you need to develop and nurture your own unique style. And I think that just won't be seen anywhere else because nobody wants to look at carbon copies of images all the time. It's very important to have your own unique style, but it is inspiring to go to galleries. And I also am a firm believer in watching documentaries about photographers. As I've mentioned, to
Yeah.
me, being such a visual person, I'm not really somebody to sit around and read a book about a photographer. I need to see it. I need to see their work. I need to see their process. And that to me is usually portrayed very well in films. So there's that. And also, I suggest taking courses or to work or be mentored by a photographer, so that you can understand, you can fully understand and develop your photography skills. So those are the things that I would
You know what?
suggest.
Wow. Excellent
I mean, I had to
points.
learn all that on my own. I had to learn all this on my own, but I'm saying, if somebody is in a position where they can do all of this, it's invaluable. It's invaluable.
A personal note, next week, I've got my second exhibition. I've got 4 photos that are going to be in a fine art photography, whatever that is, exhibition in Yokohama. One of the things I learned in my first exhibition, the biggest thing about being there isn't the fact that your photos are on the wall. I spent a lot of time. I got there early before they opened the doors and walked around, and I was looking at what other people were shooting.
Mhm.
And I wrote down the names. Oh, they had a QR scan so you could get their Instagram account. I think going to an exhibition is a tremendous suggestion. Even if your photos aren't in the exhibition, folks,
Absolutely, they don't have to
go
be.
see what other people are shooting and how they're shooting it. And if you're lucky, the photographer is there close to their work, and you can start having conversations with photographers. What made you stop to see this? What was it that grabbed you when you laid eyes on this? And it's really been fun because I've got probably half a dozen new Japanese photographer friends, and we met at the exhibit last July. So I'm really looking forward to this the one coming up next week for that reason. Go see other work.
And I think it's interesting also when you go to a gallery and you see how other people are relating to the work you're all looking at. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to watch people's body language, how long they stay in an image, what they're looking at, if they're having a discussion with somebody about the image. It's very interesting. I love going to galleries. Absolutely love it. For me, it's a constant learning experience. And it's not just for photography. I love going to see art as well. But, you know, photography, if you're lucky enough to live in a city where I am, there's galleries that have a photography only and black and white photography only. So that's something to suss out in a city is to just, go through the gallery list and see what there is out there. So
Great
yeah.
suggestion. You need inspiration? Check out an exhibition or a gallery.
Yep. but keep it unique. Keep your own photography unique. Always, always, always. So important.
Wow. Great closing point for that question.
Hmm.
Uniqueness. Now let's enjoy Pen's final artist's favorite image and hear the story she shares with us.
The title of this one is Pensive. In the 1200-year-old Medina of Fez, Morocco, also a World UNESCO Heritage Site, I found this wonderful subject. Her contemplative expression, skin texture, jacket material, and striped hijab caught an array of light enticed me to preserve her on film. The maze of this Medina has limited available light, so I went fully equipped with faster 400 ISO film to capture its twisted and narrow streets. The challenge here was to photograph my subject without intruding in her personal space and therefore compromising her Muslim beliefs. Fortunately, my 400mm fixed lens under a coat allowed me to do this, although I had to surreptitiously balance the barrel of it on my arm, press the shutter, and hope for the best. Big luck went into this one.
We're back one more time with Pen Taylor from Toronto, Canada. Pen, one final question. Looking forward, where does your black and white photography journey go next? What do you think?
For me, it's been a nice renewal. It's been a nice sort of rejuvenation to go back and explore my black and white work, because I shot only black and white for 15 years and then I moved away from it. So now I want to celebrate that work. And I'm always looking for publishing opportunities. And so I think this is my next direction, is to just find a publisher where I can get and another publisher. I'd like to get one locally, in Canada, in the US. I don't want to deal with publishers overseas anymore. It's expensive. But yeah, that would be something I would love to see happen. So if there's any publishers out there, hi.
Okay, folks. For all you North American fans of the Black and White Bistro Show, if by any chance you know some good publishers that do photography books, why don't you leave some information or send a note to Pen on Vero, and I'll bet she'll be happy to respond. Who
Yes,
knows?
I
You might
will.
even get a mention in the foreword of her new book,
Oh, maybe
Photos
so.
by Pen. I like it.
Suggested. Thanks, Dave.
You gave me you gave me an idea on one quick follow-up point. It's important. You said be unique. It's important not to just copy everybody else. How would you tell someone to find their style? How do they go about that?
I think you would have to start with, what they're looking at as somebody else's work and move backwards. Strip away what they've just seen and look at, say you're taking a picture of a wall. That person is taking a picture of a wall. How else can you shoot it? How is it the angle? Is it the framing? All of these things to make your shot unique. There's absolutely different ways of doing it. But if you feel that you're expected to shoot something a certain way, move away from that. Move away from it and just experiment. I think the key is to experiment. And the good thing about digital, which is also the bad thing, because who can edit millions of photographs that we take every day?
Yeah.
So, when I was
Guilty.
shooting film, I was, I had to be very judicious about what I was shooting because it was expensive. Now you can shoot a lot. So yeah, you have the luxury. You have the luxury of framing things differently and just experiment. Experiment.
Experiment. That is an excellent point to end this conversation on.
Thank you.
Pen, we really appreciate you being with us today and sharing your incredible insights. And I look forward to seeing more of your work. And oh, by the way, do an announcement when you get your book deal done.
I will. I absolutely
All
will.
right, great. Thank you so much, Pen.
All right. Take care, David. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. This has been fun.
That brings us to the end of today's Black and White Bistro show. We hope you enjoyed meeting Pen Taylor and her amazing black and white photography journey. To see more of her images, take a few moments to visit her gallery on Vero. Share some likes and consider following her captivating compositions in black and white. If you aren't doing so already, we'd like to thank Pen Taylor for joining us on today's show. Would you like to have a chance to be featured on the Black and White Bistro show? First, follow us on Vero at BNW Bistro. Second, start using our hashtag BNW Bistro on your best black and white image post. Finally, connect with us on Vero so that you can send us a DM, or you can send an email to me at dave@bnwbistro.com, indicating your interest in being our guest, and tell me a little bit about yourself and your black and white photography journey. And don't forget, if you're not shooting in black and white, you're only seeing half the picture. Now, remember to follow us at BNW Bistro. Check out and subscribe to our new YouTube channel where you can watch all of our episodes in your own native language subtitles. Then get out there and create some great black and white photographs. Oh, and don't forget, Happy Halloween!